This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so today we'll be learning about the MatPlotlib library of Python. This is just going to a very introductory level. I won't be giving information in deep for this. And so yeah, let's get started. So basically this library is for creating visualizations. Many different visualizations are possible, and you can see all those. I'll just show it to you in the documentation itself. Yeah. So various kinds of graphs are possible. So there is a huge number of possibilities of visualizations which we can make. I won't be able to cover all of them, but the basics one, I'll be covering them. So first we'll just start by creating a normal figure. So I'm just making use of the NumPy library to create some data here, some data points here. And I have just created my y as the square of that. So this is just a basic function where fx is equals to x square, and I'm plotting it. So here I made use of pyplot. I have given the x and the y variable. The r here specifies that the color of the line which must be chosen. So I can give it as a b and it will take a blue line. And then this is your normal, what should be the label of the x-axis, what should be the label of the y-axis, and what title I want to give to my graph. So this is your normal method of creating a simple graph. So this is just to show you what all the labels mean. So here I chose sales, which has been taken as the X label. Here I have the title and the Y label as profit. Now we can also have subplots, meaning that in a single canvas we can have more than one plots. So this is the function for creating that. We'll just see some visualizations regarding this as well. For now, I'm just letting you know. And yes, we can have different types of lines as well. We can have the dashed line. We can have the solid line as we have already seen. So this is the syntax for writing it. And we can also have pointers to our data points in the way which we want. So here I have taken asterisk. So all the data points of the data which I am plotting here is getting plot. And this is a XY graph and this is a YX graph. So I've just reversed it. So that's why it's showing like this. And yeah, so we were learning about subplots. So in subplots, you can define how many subplots you want, and then you can give the labels like you give for any particular graph, and then you can give another subplot, and then you can give the similarly the details of the second graph. So as you can see here, I got my two graphs plotted. So one was this one and the second was this one. I can change those values and I can have them above and below as well. And the plt.save fig function, what it does is it will save the plots which I'm plotting here to a file. So here I have my fig.png. So you can see that I have my png generated, and by default it is of 720 into 432, which has been generated for these. And if I take the second method of generating your figures is using the object oriented method. So here we have a figure object. So you can see that this has a default of 432 into 288 pixels. Now, what matters while plotting is we need to take care of axes. So you already know that by using subplot was one of the method of having axes. The other method is also to explicitly provide axes. So we can just provide a list which defines your left, bottom, width, and height correspondingly to the 4 values of the list. And then you can generate axes on your own as well. So this is one short example for showing you that. So here I have 3 axes generated by subplot and 3 generated using the add axes method. So this is the subplot title given here. So these are the 3 generated, and these are the random axes which has been labeled random axes here. And you can see that the graphs are one of the two graphs are actually overlapping one of them because the axis values have been given randomly, that's why. So we need to take care of what values we give while generating our own axes. We can also change the figure size. So here I gave a figure size of 10 by 4 which generated a 720 by 288 uh, pixel of figure size. So the default is 432 into 288. We can increase the size as well according to our need. And this is just a representation of your empty graph, or you can just take it as a canvas. Now to have various subplots, we give the values as how many rows and how many columns. So by this we mean that we want the two graphs to be in the different columns but the same row. So that's why you can see that they are side by side here, and that it generates axes which were received here. And then I just made use of a simple for loop to give data to the particular axis and the labels for it. And again we have the save fig function for a figure object as well, and we can even specify the DPIs if we want it to be more enriched. So you can see here when I click on this, I have the normal figure and then the more enriched one with a higher DPI. And since this would be have been a little confusing because I'm using for loop to plot the axis, but in case I want to plot different data, I can actually have it in this way, receiving 2 axes. Just keep in mind here I have changed the values of row and columns, but it does not matter actually. This means this just means that in 2 rows I'll be having 2 rows and 1 column, which meaning each row will have 1 chart. So 2 axes have been generated using this, and for each axis I have generated a plot here. I can change this to my need as well. Yeah, and you can see that I've got 2 plots, 2 subplots here. Now, as I already told you, we can give our own figure size as well. So we can change the size, and in the plotting we can even give we have various options like color, label. LW is the line width. Your alpha basically means how much transparency you want to give. So 0 is absolute transparency and 1 is absolutely opaque. LS is your line style, what style you want. So this is your simple solid line. Marker is how your point should be mapped. Then you have the marker size, the size of the marker, the edge color, its face color, and the edge width it's going to have. And apart from that, I had given one label. So what this label is that generally in charts we have a label defining that this marker or this particular thing on the graph is specifying this functionality. So after using this function access x1.legend loc equals to 0, loc just means the location. So if I change it to 1, you can see that the location of this legend has changed. And the content of this legend is the label which I'm defining here. So according to the location, I can change the position of the legend as well. And the rest are the x and the y labels which I have already discussed. So let's move on to some basic types of plots. So the first one is your box plot. So I'll just uh, have a look at some normal data here. I have a normal data frame with this data, and the command to have a plot is dot plot function, and then you have to specify which kind of plot it is. So we are specifying box, and then we are giving the figure size as well, and using this we get our box plot. So this value is actually an outlier which I had specifically made here so that we could have an outlier in our box plot as well. In case we don't have that, then we get a normal box plot generated. So you can see we have a normal box plot generated. And second way is also that we can, here I just did a box plot of B column. So you can see I had only a B column box plot, but I can also have the box plot plotting of all of the columns. So I just wrote the data frame name dot plot and had all of the columns plotted here, A, B, C, D. And yeah, there's another way of plotting it. If I don't want it to be plotted horizontally and I want it to be plot vertically, then sorry, if I don't want it to be vertically plotted, I want it to be horizontally, then I can make use of this parameter vertical is equals to false, and then I'll have my plots in the horizontal format. And yeah, we can also make use of subplots to have our box plots in the uh, different subplots as well, either row wise or column wise. So we can make use of the subplots as well, but I'll show you mainly we'll talk about the benefits of subplots when we reach on to the other different types of plotting. So second kind of plot is the scatter plot. So here I'm taking a simple data frame which has this data of name, age, gender, state, family size, and code, just sample data. So here to plot this, I'm using subplot, and for the first axis, I am plotting it for age and family size. So this is just my x comma y, which I'm specifying first, and then I'm giving simply the kind, which is scatter. Earlier I had given box for box plot. This is just the color. I can change the color as well according to my need. The marker, I can change the marker as well. And at the end, AX specifies axis. So subplot creates axis, right? So first axis is AX1 and the second axis is AX2. And 1 comma 2 specifies that in a single row, I want two columns. So basically we want the chart to be in a single row. So that's why I have given the first axis here and the second axis specified here, and I have my plot generated here in the same fashion. So you can see age and family size was here and code and family size is there. Similarly, I have my age and family size here and code and family size here. So this is the generation of your scatter plot. Next we have line chart. So in line chart, I'm again using the same data frame which we have used earlier. Here I am actually sorting the data according to age I'll just show you why. So again, the method is same, data frame dot plot, and I can make use of x as age, y equals to any other column. Then the kind I give as line, and similarly the color and markers I want to give. So here you can see that the line chart has come out to be like in a Y fashion. So in order to have it in the correct order, I sorted the data according to my X parameter, and I've made use of in place so that the changes are made to the original data frame. And then I'm plotting my line chart. So my line chart is now getting plotted accordingly to the X-axis. Now there are other method to plotting the line chart. We can make use of df.plot.line as well. So here we were giving the kind equals to line. Here we have removed that parameter and we just did a dot line, and rest of the parameters are just same. Just another way of plotting your line chart. Nothing new here. And yeah, for subplots we can make use of this. So here when we make use of line charts, we usually want to compare two or more lines, right? So subplots are very useful at that time. So here I've created uh, one subplot, and so here I haven't mentioned anything. So it's going to be just one subplot, basically a single chart. And then I've sorted the data according to age, so that my data is sorted according to the X column here. And I am giving the axis as both AX1 for both of the values. So here I'm plotting age with family, here I'm plotting code with the family size. So you can see that both of them have got plotted to the same chart here. So this is the benefit of using it. You can easily do the comparison. You can even change the markers. You can change the markers and colors according to your need. And if you don't want to have it in the same chart, then you can have them as different charts, as we have already discussed. We can have two axes, and then we can provide specific access to each chart and have them plotted. So that would give them as different subplots. So here there was all of the values are exactly the same, only the axis values I have changed here. Accordingly, here I have changed the values because I wanted two axes to generate my two subplots. And next we have the bar plot. So here the normal first method is using the plt.bar. Inside we will define the two columns which we want to plot, the color, if any label we want to give, and the width of each bar. So we can change the width of this bar as well. And similarly we can have our bar chart generated, bar plot generated. We can also have it horizontally generated by making use of plt.barh. And here instead of the width, we would make changes to the height parameter, and we would get the different, horizontal view of the same bar plot. After that, we have our histogram. So in histogram, we usually have bins, and we show in each bin how much data is present. I'm just making use of this data frame. I'll show you this data frame. Yeah. So this is my normal data frame with age, gender, and family size code and all. So I'm making use of the age column here, and I'm generating 12 bins. So you can already see what all bins have been generated. It has already printed here, and then you can see the data which is fitting in all the bins. So in 20 it is saying 4 data. So we can just check it from here that around 20 we have 4 data points. So that's why it fits between that bin. This is basically the bin of 19 to 23, and that's why 4 has been happen. 4 has occurred here. And similarly, we have our 111 values for all other values. And we can also have grid printed here. So if we make use of this grid equals to true parameter, we can have the grid printed. And yeah, similarly, we have another method of plotting the histogram. We can just make use of this data frame dot plot dot hist as well. Just another method of plotting your histogram, nothing new. And we can also plot two histograms and have them stacked. So for that, we can make use of this tag parameter. We can give it a true value. By default, it is false. And we can mention the two columns which we want to plot. Here I'm giving the kind equals to hist. This is the old method which we have been discussing till now. Before in the histogram, we have been using these two methods. And then we can just plot it, and we can have both of our histograms stacked on each other. Okay. So besides this, we have our density graph as well. So I have made use of age because it is very easy to just show it to you as a visualization. So you can see it is giving me a density graph of how many values are present near what x value of, I mean the age value. So you already know that it's going to be high near 20, as we have already discussed that near 20 the values are more. And we can just make use of this plot method, give the kind as density and the color as orange. So these are the basic plots, the different types of graphs which we can make use of. Apart from these, we can have several other graphs as well, which I have already shown you here. And we can have them stacked. We can have different subplots generated. We can have heat maps also generated. So we have various kinds of maps which we can make. So I've included the link for that as well. This is the official MatPlotlib library documentation link. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. This is all from my side. I just wanted to give you an introduction of it in case you'll be working on data frames and all. Okay, fine then. That's all from my side. Thank you, everyone.